Hi, welcome to the StockinetteZombies. I'm Amy, also known as Janitma.
And I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It, and this is episode 253. And this is Sullivan. He was sitting over there, and I tried to cat transplant him over here. So we're kind of on eggshells to make sure that he doesn't run away. Although he was in a very active mode, and now he's kind of in how toddlers get, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like
post-play.
Can't even keep my eyes open. I'm not making fun of you, am I? He's a sweet boy. Aren't you?
Skinny kitten.
Yes. He was a rescue, so he got left outside in the cold Minnesota weather, didn't you? Yeah. He's like, I don't know, do either of your cats watch TV? Like Max and Chaz, like, I swear they couldn't see things on the TV.
Okay.
And weren't interested in it and whatever. But, like, he sees my mouse moving on the computer and tries to bat at it, and he'll watch because he sees things on the TV screen. I don't know, maybe they have different rods and cones that make them, some of them, able to see electronics, or...
Well, I mean, like, my cats, if there's, like, birds on Sunday morning or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever on TV, they'll figure that out and watch it. And there was some sort of, like, hot something, so it had fire in the promo, and so the cats were really into the fire promo.
It could have just been that Max and Chaz weren't interested, right? Like, they're like, whatever, that's fake, right? And he's just like, He is currently teething, I think, so he does, and it's not really hurting me. So if it's giving him some sort of comfort, I guess. And then my hand's dirty from being chewed on. So yeah, he's a good addition since we last recorded. I think I mentioned when we last recorded that I wanted to wait until after we went on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't do a lot of shopping around as far as looking. A lot of the younger cats get snapped up pretty quickly here in Rochester. So he came from Goodhue County Humane Society. And it was just kismet because he wasn't available before we left, and he was when we came back. And I kind of wanted a cat that didn't look like Max and Chaz, just for sentimental reasons, like so I didn't, out of the corner of my eye, think, oh, there's Max, or oh, there's Chaz. And so Gray, he definitely does not look like Max and Chaz. And he's just such a sweet boy. The kids have all, in their own way, said, I'm really glad that I get to experience like this kittenness, right? Because we had Max and Chaz 16 years. Ellie, they were 5 years old when Ellie came along, and she was, an infant, so she didn't even realize that there were cats, right? So by the time all of them came along, they were pretty elderly cats. So, like, all kittens are so much fun, and Quentin runs around, and Dexter runs around, and Ellie runs around, so he's got a lot of admirers. Jeremy will not admit it. Like, he rolls his eye about the cat mania, but he'll sit there and move things under blankets and play with them just as much as the rest of us. So, yeah, he's a good boy. And he's such a lover. Like, they got him out of his cage at the thing. He was, like, up in my face, rubbing the side of his face on me. And, yeah.
He knew how to get the
He
right
did.
person. Yeah.
He did. But he's such a cool cat. Like, I don't know. Either my opinion of cats was too low, like they're all cool, or like I just attributed Max and Chaz to being like the coolest cats we could ever have, and then along comes Sullivan, and he's pretty darn cool. He's a pretty good guy. Comes in, like, even the first night came and sat on the couch in our laps and kind of made a nest with us, and he's definitely a lot less skittish than he was the first night. Anyway, I've got cat brain. It's like baby brain. Kitten brain. Got kitten brain. And now he's taking a bath in front of you all. You're probably not even listening. It's probably just wah, 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 wah.
Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that Pivot kind of did that to me. Like, she followed me around, and was like, oh, that cat knew who to target.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like, not that, I don't know. The other cat that we really were attracted to already had a family's name on it. So it was one of those, well, if the adoption falls through, and it's like, no,
Yeah,
I don't want
wanna-
to.
yeah.
I don't want to get my heart set on this cat that I have to wait for another family to reject.
Yeah.
You know.
When we applied for Sullivan, I kind of said that to Ellie. I was like, well, if he finds another forever home, then we have to be happy for him, right? And we have to feel like that there's another animal that's supposed to live with us. But yeah, he's got me 100% pegged. Like I came home for lunch today to check on him. He gave me this little, ow. Picked him up and he was like, okay, now you can rub my belly and walk around at this elevation for me to look around. And then tonight, I thought he was doing what Chaz used to do, which was wait on the other side of the bedroom door and wait for me to come out and pet him. Well, he did that, like, gave me the big, Puss in Boots eyes, like the big eyes, and then jetted into the yeah.
Sneaky.
He is. He's a sneaky cat. Because he wants to know what's going on back there and why he doesn't go back there. Yeah. But yes, we other than that, we had a really great time in San Antonio. I think I celebrated a little bit too much that you guys had snow and we didn't, and the schadenfreude of it all, because now we're getting snow. Sorry, it's my fault that Ilsa has descended upon our fine state. Well, Wisconsin too, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh, Wisconsin got hit hard.
Yeah, lots and lots of snow in April.
Yes.
Is that pretty common? So you just had a birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Are mix of snow and not snow on your birthday, or?
In Iowa, it wasn't as much,
Right.
So, like, I'm trying to think, the last few birthdays have been okay, but we've had snow after my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I've just come to expect crazy, crappy weather in April, around or near my birthday.
Yep.
Well.
Yeah. But yeah, so we went to San Antonio and you went to Chicago. Ouch, that one did hurt, son.
There was no snow in Chicago, thank goodness.
Yeah.
It was cold, but no snow.
There was only one really coldish day. It was the last day that we were there, and we were going to go out and do some hiking, and we didn't end up going out because the wind chill was such that it was pretty chilly, even with like pants on. We went to Rochester's getting one, a trampoline park, and the kids absolutely loved it. But it was good to find out. Like an hour was absolutely enough for them. At the end, they were like, "Tired? Can we go eat?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah," because you could buy a half an hour, and then extend it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they were on it, right? Like I thought maybe like it was the honor system, but no, you got different colored bracelets for your half-hour mark where you were supposed to exit. There was a lot of birthday parties going on. But yeah, we went down to the ocean, so we went down to Padre Island, Mustang Island, down in Corpus Christi, which was a nice day trip. Went to SeaWorld twice, once on Easter, and did the water park because it was super warm on that day, and then we went to the shows another day. My parents went, and Jeremy's dad went. Went to Six Flags after all of the grandparents left. Trying to think of what other things we did. We went and did the river walk, which was fun. But yeah, just generally enjoyed the warm weather. That was like my requisite thing.
Yeah.
Just warm weather, wearing shorts and walking around without putting coats and major things on.
Yeah, I had a potential chance to go to California for work this month, and I don't know, work just conspired against me going on that trip, and so I was like, oh darn, but I think that's the weekend of Yarn Over, so
Yep.
It's
always the weekend.
Instead.
Yeah, it's always the weekend after or during Dexter's birthday. So I will be there in Stephen B's booth, signing books over lunch. And I'm gonna try to make it and Dexter can go up to the Twin Cities too for his birthday type thing.
Okay. So just lunch and then off to do Dexter things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Be a good mama. Be a good mama. But yeah, no, lots of exciting stuff going on. I didn't get to do, did you do any of the yarn shop pop?
No, not at all, actually, yeah.
Looked like there was some fun themes that was going on. There's a lot of, so San Antonio, for all intents and purposes, I believe is larger than Rochester. He's just chewing away on my fingers. But they had like 2 or 3 yarn shops.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, so I guess I was thinking, no, I'm thinking up in the
Minneapolis.
Twin Cities, yeah, how many they have up there, because Rochester doesn't have any anymore. You want to chew on her fingers now? So she can just randomly say, ouch!
I think you have more hands than my kitten.
Do you think he's going to get a bigger, he's going to grow into these big feet? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, lots of yarn shops. I can't remember how many were in the hop, like 20 or something like that. An intense amount of, and they're all really big. I feel like, I went to Inskein Yarns, which is, they had a really great selection. So Heidi of Undone Yarn gave me kind of the lowdown.
Okay.
They had a lot of Texas yarns there, like, so a whole section, which is perfect, because that's what I do. That's like the first thing that I do when I walk in. It's like, hey, where are your local yarns? The stuff I can't see in Minnesota. You're hurting me, sir. And so I got some Texas yarn there, and then a really cool shop at the Yarn Barn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I wasn't able to stay very long because we hadn't eaten lunch yet, and we were trying to fit it in at the end of a day.
Right back.
And the natives were restless. But, oh, you can chew on that instead of my fingers, or do you have a taste for flesh? He's like, I think this is okay.
Yeah.
It smells a little bit like catnip at this point. What was I saying? So, and she's got a lot of needlepoint there too. So that was really neat. And Enid was super cool. Like, she was talking to us about things that we were doing, and I got some of their in-house yarn, again, that I'll show in enabling.
Okay.
Yeah. How was, did you go to any yarn shops in Chicago? I saw you went up in the tower.
Yeah. There was very, I don't know, like, everything was spread out just enough that I would have had to have Ubered there, or have, like, derailed something that we were doing to go do it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, we don't need to go to these yarn shops. I mean, I kind of looked around to see if there was any that would spark my interest, and I was like, no, I'm good. So, we went to Willis Tower, we went to the Shed Aquarium, and we went to the Field Museum. And then everything else was just kind of whim generated.
That's fun.
Yep. But lots of, you know, like, realization that my kids kind of poop out on vacation. Like, they were fine for the morning, and they did that one thing, and then they just wanted to go back and hang in the hotel room because they were, like, over it. And I think if the weather was nicer, you know, the walking to this or that or the other real quick to do something would have seemed more appealing. But,
had to give him the stare down. He was getting no, that's my hand. Yeah, I don't know. We kind of, my husband, go on vacation, right? And so I think he sets the pace, and then by the end of the day, like, there's, like, the chimes of, like, do we have to go to a restaurant? Can we just go back to we rented a really nice Airbnb, because we had a pretty significant number of people. It had a pool in the backyard and a nice little deck area in the back to kind of sit on a porch swing and enjoy. It had, like, an outdoor dining area, had 4 bedrooms with 2 sets of bunk beds, and so, yeah, it was a nice, but, yeah, again, kind of pooped out, right? Like, do we have to go to another restaurant? Can we just go back and, like, settle down? And I think, you know, to a certain extent, I could probably do that the whole time. I don't know. I really enjoyed the ocean. That was my favorite. I enjoyed Six Flags, going on some of the rides. I like the ones that only go one direction. So the ones that like shoot you up in the air. I think they're called like screamers in most parks. And then you free fall down. Like that's the scary part. I don't get motion sick with those. And I think that I trust that I'm not going to shoot off the top or fall out the bottom, right? But those ones that twist you and dip you and go round and round. And Six Flags was not by any means busy, so the kids just went. And I think once they do, I was trying to figure out the psychology of it, but like once they do it the first time with us and they see like it's cool and it's kosher, there's nothing like to be too upset about, then they just wanted to go on a repeat, like the same one over and over and over again. They were like, no, we want to go do this other one. Are you enjoying my story? But yeah, just over and over and over again. Water ride, raft ride. Some of the roller coasters. And thankfully it was, not busy enough that we could just be like, okay, we can see where you come out, we can see where you're going in, and you're not spending half the day in line trying to ride it again. So yeah, this might be the first episode that I'm not like actively knitting. I'm just gonna hold a pesky cat that's gonna eat my hands.
That's right.
If I'm missing a few fingers or something in future episodes, you'll know why.
I got one of their tiny beers, and we got deviled eggs, and so I was enjoying that, and it was fine. But their taking a reservation system was so willy-nilly to me. Like I had to ask, because she said 10 minutes, maybe 15. And I was like, can I put my name in? And I'm just standing in the entryway. Are you going to tell me that I can wait in the bar, or do I have to stand in the door? Because the place is so small that you have 2 feet before you're at the, I don't know, hostess stand, but it's not really a hostess stand. It's just a railing that they have their little tablet on, and sometimes she's there and sometimes she's not, and they're kind of like zone defensing the whole restaurant with just a few employees, and I don't know. It's very small. So again, it's not built to put tons of people in. But the frustrating thing was that there were 4 young people that were standing in the doorway, and they got there probably 10 minutes after we did. Well, the way that everything was set up, they got sat at the same time, and she gave them the booth, the nice booth, and put the family at the table with and it was where we're sitting next to another place. Why did you do that? We were here longer. Why wouldn't you give us the choice of which place to sit?
Maybe she was going, those people are going to sit there and drink all night, and you guys would eat and go, right?
Eat and vamoose? I don't know.
Yeah. We noticed in San Antonio, so we went to some really hipster artisanal, I'm not using hipster in a negative way. That was kind of their shtick, right?
How do you describe this place? Hipster.
Yeah. They had herbs growing on things, and some of the decor was, whatever. But they all took, so the Pearl District, the Southerly, a couple of other places, all took our cell phone numbers, basically.
Oh yeah, that's
and they
what
would just text
did.
you. Yeah, text you when you're ready. And I was like, I kind of
eventually,
like that.
after I asked.
Yeah.
Again, honestly, oh yeah, we're looking at maybe 10-15 minutes, and we're standing there. Long beat. I'm can I put my name in so that we can move away from this 2-foot by 2-foot square? I don't know. And there were people there ahead of me that I don't know if they put their name in, but there were just 2 people sitting on chairs in that same really tiny entryway. And so it was one of those things where just her taking care of the people who were standing in the entryway instead of taking care of the people who had been there longer that were at the bar. Ordering things, mind you, right? We weren't just up there with a bunch of waters, I understand the point that the kids might drink more. The table of 4 young people might drink more, but I don't know. We also have a lot of young doctors that have a lot of student debt and don't necessarily
aren't going to spend a lot.
Yeah, they're not going to spend a lot. Anyway, it was one of those things where I was just annoyed that I was here first and you didn't give me a choice of where to sit, like a table. Like, I don't know. She thought that, oh, these young people want to be away from these families or whatever. I don't know.
What'd you get? Was it good?
Got their chicken. It's their signature thing. And then also some brisket, because everything there is family style, so you kind of order big things.
Yeah.
We over-ordered sides, because we ordered 2 big helpings of sides, and that was too much for our family. And she had recommended originally getting the 8-piece chicken if that's all we were getting, and I'm like, oh my god, 4 would have been fine.
Yeah.
And that's what we ended up getting, plus some sides. But, because we upcharged for the white meat, and the white meat is big chicken breast. It's huge. It's like bigger than like chicken breasts I've gotten anywhere else. They're really big. And so just looking at it going, well, that was worth the 50-cent per piece upgrade.
Yeah.
And there's no way that I would have
this
ordered
Southerly, my father-in-law asked if he could get the white meat, and they're like, you can't get a preference on. That's in the Pearl District, which was really kind of neat. It had like a green grass area. We saw a lot of people out walking their cats on leashes in the area. When we got there, they gave all 3 of the kids a roll of pretzel dough. Yeah, he like decided to go to sleep. Can't notice the cuteness.
Sorry.
And they made their own little pretzels, and then they baked them, and brought them back. Put some sugar on it. I think my favorite food was when we were in Corpus Christi, hush puppies and a really great gumbo, which again, I was the really annoying person that was like, you don't add sugar to this, do you? Because I really didn't want to get like a cup of soup and then be like, oh, this is really sweet. Like you added something to it that I wouldn't expect. So yeah, I'm sure my party got tired of me asking and maybe had some eye rolls and whatever, but I was the annoying person that was like, this doesn't typically have sugar in it. I know, do you know the recipe? Do they add sugar to it? No. Okay. That sort of thing. But at Southerly, I had some cheddar and jalapeno grits. They were fantastic.
That sounds really good.
They were so good. And they had to have been made with like real butter. Oh, they were so creamy. Jeremy tasted so, and they didn't, just a little bit of heat. Like they weren't like heat on the jalapeno. So anyway, I'm making myself hungry. I must not have eaten enough for supper. All right, so that's what we've been up to.
Yep.
Anything else? I think we've done enough. And we've put Sullivan to sleep. This is like, he's our like barometer of excitingness. You're talking about before I was part of your family. So March is coming on. The Scrappy Happy KAL. March winners. I drew 3 winners. That's 2 through 123. I'm enjoying seeing all of the Scrappy projects, and I've got like it's not Scrappy because I purposely bought it, but kind of a larger one that you'll see in enabling. So the 3 winners were 121, 107, and 52. So 121 is Steph A. Johnson, 107 is Sarah B., and 52 is Martha 24 Jane. She had a really pretty, I wrote it down because I thought it was so pretty, the surprise party shawl. Super pretty and bright. Anyway, as per usual, I've only got use of one hand here, but I have to grab things and bring it over, because the other one is being held hostage by a sleeping cat. We have the Silver Shed USA Adventure Walk, or what does she call them? Is it an Adventure Walk?
I think so.
Bag? With cute little owls on it. And then I thought this was apropos. It's from Show Me Yarn. It is self-striping, and it is snow bunnies. So we recently got a great deal of snow.
Yeah, so snow bunnies is perfect.
Yes. Plus, it's really pretty. What do you think, Sullivan? Pretty? Like, I'm not really awake. My eyes are open, but I'm not really awake. And then, of course, a pattern prize of mine. So the order in which you contact me with your preference, the first person gets their first preference, and so on, and conflicts are resolved by order of contacting me via Ravelry, please, because that will keep that all in one place. PM me. We've got bag, Cute yarn. Patterns. Yo, thanks for Scrappy Cappy. Scrappy?
Can't do it.
Cappy, K-A-L-E. And then Amy and I, other than being obsessed with cats, decided that we wanted to have kind of featured content. Since we're not podcasting as often, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do it when you're podcasting every week, I guess.
Right.
But it felt like, let's have something to focus on and really let's talk about it in this episode, a theme, perchance, that isn't new adorable cat sleeping in your lap. And so we are both ready for warm weather knits.
Just like, I'm gonna wake up and start looking things, okay. So our theme is spring into summer. Whee!
Spring into summer. Catapult me into summer.
Please.
I can't remember who was on, why I watched a YouTube clip of it. But Kelly and Ryan were talking about how it was 80 degrees in New York over the weekend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then it dropped down to like 30s or 40s the next day, and I was like, wow, like I would have taken the 80 degrees one of the days, right? Like, I guess, yeah, that's a pretty good shock to your body, but
yeah,
I still think I would have taken the 80 over the 12 inches of snow that we got.
Yeah, I think Wednesday it might snow. Mm-hmm. There's predictions. If it does end up snowing, it's going to be 50 by next weekend. Mm. So hopefully that's all true as far as like the end of it. Like
the trajectory.
I can see that there's
We're going to
50.
spring into spring.
Yeah.
Spring into spring. So with that kind of theme, we wanted to talk about summer knitting that we like to do. We are both kind of garment knitters, so we probably migrate more towards the summer short sleeve tops. Mm-hmm. But there's also some really pretty gorgeous shawls. Mm-hmm. You could knit a long sleeve top out of a lighter weight fiber like cotton or linen. And so, yeah, we wanted to kind of encourage other people to spring into summer with us. And the way you do that is with a KAL. And so, yeah, there's going to be points, and we'll get this all out in a thread on Ravelry, but points for joining in the KAL, stating your intentions, extra bonus points for finishing. But yeah, help us bring spring.
Yeah.
Summer. Maybe if we all knit together things for the summer, it will come.
Yep. So I think the thing that we're going to jumpstart ourselves with is cast on. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to knit? Picture of, the yarn and maybe, the cast on stitches that were part of the pattern. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't even need to be too far. Just cast it on, put it on those needles, and then take a picture of that and post it out on the Ravelry thread that will be opened, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. Very fun.
Other points and prizes. Maybe the first picture of it, out at poolside, or I don't know. I mean, some people can do that now, but not here.
No, definitely not in Minnesota. So did you bring one of your favorite summer tops?
Well, I brought the last one I finished. So this was Mary Jane top out of Hempathy. And Hempathy is one of my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah. One of my favorite summer yarns to knit with. I've knit a dress and this top and like 2 other tops out of it. And then, I don't know, I've really appreciated it, and I do have a couple more sweaters quantity hanging out, because it only takes like, I think 4 balls to get a nice short sleeve top like this. 3 would get you a tank top.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I've just really enjoyed knitting with it.
Yeah, the one nice thing with some of those non-wool fibers, I find, is they may not be the nicest to work with, but when they wear, they just continue to feel better. I feel like they improve with wear, whereas like wool, sometimes you get pilling and issues with the wool kind of where you need to gleaner it, and it gets thinner in certain areas. And
yeah, the empathy was never quite that bad. I mean, it's not going to be quite as good as wool, but I've worked with a lot worse. I think empathy is one of the better ones.
And that was the one where they had mentioned to you, was it not? No, it was a different top.
No, that was a different top.
That was the Eurosport flax. Yeah.
That's wearing really nice. That's another nice top that I really like. I mean, that has a lot of drape and heft to it compared to this one, because it was 100% linen, and it was a little bit thicker sport weight linen, I think, because it's Euroflex Sport.
Ouch. Ow.
Ooh, he's really doing some damage there.
Yes. We need to stop, sir.
Hi.
He's like, I want to chew on something.
Okay. So,
toddler woke up from a nap, naughty.
So the other thing that I have knit, but not quite so recently, but I would suggest it for a lot of people, is I knit a cotton linen boxy, worsted weight boxy, and I do wear that one a lot in the winter. I mean summer. Blah.
Yep.
Like just throw a quick tank top, because it gets kind of holey. It's kind of see-through. So a quick tank, and throw that on over top, and it's got a lot of ventilation because it's that big blousiness. And, oh, cute.
Sorry, this is going to be the episode where
we're just
instantly like instead of like squirrel, it's going to be like Sullivan. Oh, what cute thing is Sullivan doing?
This is my first time meeting him. He's so cute.
He is. He's super cute.
Oh, okay. Bye, Sully.
So yeah, with the Euroflax, they encouraged you to wind it by hand and kind of break down the. He's gonna knock over the camera.
I know. That was like, oh no, I threw it the wrong direction. Okay, he's fine. Like he's wrapping himself around the leg of the thing that's holding our camera, and I'm just like imagining it going against.
But yes, to break it down.
Yeah.
I've also heard that putting it in the freezer and then bringing it back out will help, but I don't know. If just
tried any of that.
Cooling and then reheating would help break it down a little bit, but definitely seemed to help with your gauge as far as I could see when you hand wound it.
Yes, definitely. You know, when you knit with linen, you feel like your stitches get kind of wonky, where you'll have a big, little, or little, big. That pre-winding a couple times will just take that off, and it'll make it even stitching.
Yeah. So the two tops that I grabbed, because I just went back and grabbed them because they were the last two tops that I had worn. This is a Castle, the Castle pullover, I believe. I knitted out of Sunstone, and I'm not remembering the brand of the yarn. It's super soft, but it does get a little warm. I think it's a wool cotton DK. So that would be my other thing. I like, for summer tops, for all tops, I like fingering weight, sport weight type tops. So it creates a thinner fabric, like those big worsted or DK weight sweaters are nice in the dead of winter, but they don't see much wear out of my closet in like on a cooler night. If you wanted to throw a sweatshirt on, I'm not going to throw a DK weight or worsted weight sweater on. I don't know. Maybe I would. I'm trying to think. My recent, the one with the portage. I could probably throw that one because it's a big open front one, right? Kind of as a layering piece. Anyway, I'm talking about a different thing than what I'm currently holding up. So yes, this is Sunstone. I found the lace really fun and intuitive. I believe this is from the top down, which is my favorite because then you get to this bit and it's interesting. Short sleeve is often nice if you're not a big fan of sleeves. I don't know if they still make this yarn, but is it oval Sunstone? Is that right? I really like this marl, this kind of rusted kind of color on it. So that's one that I highly recommend. And then last year, this was the most recent summer top that wasn't a design of mine that I knit, the Walkway. And much like you were talking about, put a tank on, throw it over the top. I've also worn it over the top of a dress. This is with Knit Picks Lindy Chain, and as far as value linen goes, I'm a really big fan of it. I've knit my mom literally over the top out of it. They have a wide array of colors, and I really like how it knits up and how it wears. It's a lace weight, but I've often knit it at I think this was a fingering weight gauge. And you just kind of get more drape and a little looser, more see-through fabric, but again, I was assuming that I was going to be wearing this with something
open.
Yeah, and this was this was even with me making sure that the neckline wasn't as low.
I know, but I mean, this stitching
Yes.
was, it's already going to have a tank under it.
Yep. I really like this yellow too. So yeah, and then as far as things that we're kind of looking at casting on, I know that Quince & Company just had a whole array of kind of summery tops come out.
That's right.
That I had eyeballed a couple of them. Shawls are nice, again, if your shoulders get cold in air conditioning, so kind of the opposite direction, right? Like it's cold inside and warm outside instead of the opposite.
Right.
And the fading point is very popular. You didn't get convinced to need to knit that again after the starting point.
I understand, oh yeah, the fade's very cool, and a lot of people still are in the fade, right? Because there's all these fade patterns, but no, I already knit that one once.
Yeah, I was like, I saw that and I was like, I bet Amy's not biting on that one.
No. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I actually bought the Suburban shawl because I wanted to support Diane, Suburban Stitcher. I guess via name. I know that she used her yarn.
Okay.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, I'm having trouble picturing what
The
that one looks
Suburban, the Suburban wrap, I believe.
Okay.
Sorry. It's got color block. It's a V, so the one end is a fishtail and the other is a point.
Okay. Yeah.
a long
Okay.
wrap.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Seen that. Yep.
Yep.
No,
It's the one that came out before the the fading point. I actually I had 2 skeins of Suburban Stitcher, Blurple and Camp Colors, I believe. And then I was trying to mix in something, and then I got distracted by designs and other things to knit it. So it was like my motivation project. Like, you gotta finish these design work so that you can do it, and then I just continued on. And it was no longer my motivation. Still want to knit it. But it's not a carrot to dangle anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, my I don't know, things I want to cast on. I think I have a couple different sweaters, but I found out that my good friend from college is getting married. So I saw the shawl. And she is lacy. Yes, and she is getting married in Mississippi. And it'll be October, but it's pretty warm down there still. And she has no use for wool. So I'm making a silk and linen that I bought from Nerd Girl, but out on eatsleepknit.com. Cool. And she loves the color. I'm going to do Snow Angel. And so, I don't know, ultimately, I kind of agreed with the person who said it was a triangle shawl. I'm like, oh yeah, it is a triangle shawl. I mean, I really like it. It looks a lot more swoopy and scalloped because it's a little bit of a wider triangle, but it's still a triangle. So I'm doing the more crescent-shaped one with the points on the end. And then, yeah, so I'm excited to work on that, and it'll be good motivation to get it done before October. Cool. And then I bought some more of that same yarn, so as I'm knitting with it, I'm going to be plotting a top for myself.
Can't wait to see the yarn.
Yeah.
Sounds fabulous.
We'll do that in enabling. Guys.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you'll see the shawl one in projects. But.
Yeah. So yeah, we can move on to finished objects. The nice segue here is that my finished objects are summer tops. Are summer tops. So this is with the project bag, and now I can't remember the yarn. I'm having a bad brain night.
Oh, yeah.
Kitten brain. It's out in my project pages. It was the matching yarn and bag.
Yeah.
It's right on the tip of my brain. Anyway, so this is a new top design of mine, yet unnamed. I've had people suggest things, and it just hasn't resonated yet, right? Like when I hear it, I'll know it. But it is knit in one piece, and it's knit from sleeve to sleeve, so the right sleeve to the left sleeve. And I don't think I'm giving too much of the directions away here, but basically you knit the sleeve and then you cast on for the body. It's got a really fun V motif that is accomplished, by knitting it this way. And I just enjoyed it thoroughly. Like the actual process of knitting it was super fun because it's moving, right? And then it V's back the other way. The front one, the arrow goes down. I think that's kind of a slimming line, and then so as not to point at your butt, it points up your back. I don't know. I've always laughed because people have pointed out to me, and now I can't unsee it, that when people are wearing triangular shawls, it looks like they have a big arrow pointing at their butt.
Which is for that for everybody.
I know,
else.
right? Sorry. But, and that's not a bad thing. Butts are cute. But anyway, you get to the center point, and then you start heading the other direction. It's a Henley style, so at some point you do the neck opening, and then you do a Henley. Faux buttons, or a faux button band. There are no actual buttonholes, and then I just sewed up the Henley. And it looks fabulous on Miss Ellie. But it's a super fun knit. I enjoyed the process of knitting it a great deal. Generally, once I get the concept of a design down, it kind of becomes ho-hum, and you just kind of want to put it away. But this one, I thoroughly enjoyed. Oh, there's always, there's something more to do, right? It's not stockinette for a million miles. It's something's traveling, and now I've got to put in the neckline, and now I'm going to do the ribbing for the Henley, and now I'm going to cast off and work the separate band. So that's for Miss Ellie. Need to do a photo shoot with her. Did not get any of my photo shooting done in San Antonio. It was a little bit like your not being able to go to an LYS in Chicago, right? It was like we can't take time from family stuff to try to find and do that. So this is the me-sized one, and it's got about 2 inches of positive ease. Absolutely love this colorway. It's from Suburban Stitcher. It's River's Edge, which was her flood philanthropy. So a certain portion of the skein went to firefighters that were helping, I think.
With the Houston flood.
Yes. Houston flood. So yeah, it was interesting. This yarn was dyed in, she's not in Houston. Yeah, she is. Sorry, I wasn't in Houston. I was in San Antonio. Dyed in Houston, traveled all the way to Minnesota, sat in my statch for a good long bit, and then flew back to San Antonio, back down to Texas with me, and gotten it on. I did not finish it in San Antonio, but I was hoping, right? Like while I was dreaming of being able to do the photo shoot of Ellie there, I was like, oh, then I can finish this one too. But no. And on this one, I did a split hem, which is why there's, and you've got the body, the body, and then you end up seaming underarm and down the side. So
there.
He has no shame. He just wanders right into goes where he wants to go. But yeah, I've had a couple of camera that you didn't quite see. Yeah, that's a string. Sorry, sir, not for you. Where you couldn't quite see all the gorgeous colors that are in this, but it's very blue and green. And I'm not a fan of a Henley. I think I need a split right here. I don't know why. I just do. Hey, sir, do not eat my yarn, please.
Retro.
Yeah. He's been doing pretty good, but I think maybe he's feeling a little sassy tonight. Are you feeling sassy? So yeah, that's a new design currently being test knit and should be out as soon as I'm able to take, well, the test knitters finish. Mm-hmm. I think I've got yardages to calculate based off of, you know, sizing and what the test knitters come back with. And then photography. I'd really like to be able to take a picture of my summer top outdoors.
In the winter, wait.
No, it's not winter. And so then, yeah, the other part of my skein, I believe I showed Quinton's. These are Dexter's, and I didn't realize it at the time. Do you really think this is a toy? But I didn't put the panel in the back of Dexter's. They are taller socks, so I should be able to see that. But now I'll very easily be able to identify. Dexter's do not have a panel in the back.
There you go.
So it's like having tags, I guess. But yeah, these are the Adventure Walk socks. They have been test knit. The pattern is completely ready. I just need to, I want to take a picture, again, outdoors, because the inspiration is Adventure Walk. Mm-hmm. I was going to go, if I'd taken them in San Antonio, obviously I wasn't going to do somewhere here in Rochester, but now I really want to go. He's attacking his own tail. I really want to go to the Plummer House. They've got some gardens, and we do a lot of our adventure walks do end up there. But yeah, as a reminder, it's interwoven. Do not eat my knitting, sir. He's like, yes, Mom. Interwoven charts.
Just
or
eat your arm.
Interchangeable charts on Dexter's here. I did just the veer right stacked on one and the veer left stacked on the other. Dexter's going to be sad. He said these were going to be his birthday socks. Somehow I always have a pair of socks finished for him on his birthday.
Yeah. Just like... I was like, oh, I want to go get my gear. It's so funny.
He's not, and again, he's not really eating it. He's just chomping on it.
Yeah.
He kind of did that when he just dug in his claws. When he first came, when we first brought him home, he'd like sink his claws into my hand knit socks, and not like or anything, but just kind of wanted to like
touch him.
Oh, that tail. Oh, that tail. Infinitely entertaining, Sully. Infinitely entertaining. And those are my finished objects.
Okay.
I did some designing, and I'm continuing to do some designing. So while the inspiration hits and I am writing things up, I might as well just, hey, there's another design.
Yeah. So I did The Love Always by Megan Williams.
I love it.
But this cashmere yarn was in a bundle, and this was all that was there in that in that bundle. So that's how tall it ended up. And I can actually wrap this and get a hat out of it. But I wish there was a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good at the you know, like the little, you can put it over your mouth. And done with this. So
it's really soft.
I do have to take my glasses off for it though. I might end up blocking it a little bit.
It's very I love those colors.
Yeah.
It was a set that had those colors included, right?
Yep, it was a bundle. They have, it's Adorna Knits, so Lux Adorna Knits, and they sell their cashmere in bundles for fun, and then they also have like different kits and stuff. I was enjoying knitting with this so much, I imagined filling a cart full of, you know, like this kit and that kit and this kit, and then I was like, well, it'll always be there. Or at least I like to imagine that, you know, when I'm in the mood to make one again or something again, I can just pop it in my cart and it'll be in my door in no time. So I'm just going to keep this as a reminder of how much I love this yarn, and then I can buy another one or buy a kit for something else someday. Then I also, my neighbor, she hadn't been knitting in a long time, and I asked her to cat sit while we were in Chicago, and she's like, oh, I have a hat that I started that I really don't want to finish. And I said, oh, I'll finish it for you. Well, it's a mohair and a single ply wool bias knit something or other, and then you were supposed to seam things, and I don't know how this would have ended up with a tall enough hat with how it went, so I just decided to make it into like a cowl / headband type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, no, you can keep it, I don't want it. So this must have been a really frustrating project if she's like, no, just, I don't want to ever see it again, even if you've done all the...
Banish it.
Yes, banish it is gone. Yeah, the mohair was held double, so she must have had, the way that it was balled up, she had done something to get the two strands together and ball, and I'm like, oh my gosh, all the work to go and make a mohair held double. So I worked on that, and once I finished and seamed it up, it was like, oh, that's really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just a little like cowl / ear warmer headband
Mm-hmm.
type thing. And again, the way that the construction was written was like to take this and then like do the present folding thing on top.
Got it.
Like that. And then wear it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have like a little crochet edging. It would have been way too small for me. And it might have fit
Did
her.
you use all the
but
yarn?
No, there's another.
Oh, yeah, because it's on the bias, so you can't
Yeah.
lengthen it really.
No. So there were instructions to do a crocheted edge around it, but then you lose your stretch. What little stretch you do have with the carryover on the bias. So I just thought, okay, it looks good enough.
Mm-hmm. I concur.
So yeah, that was my other thing that got finished. I was working on a sport weight sweater a lot, so I got a lot of inches of that, but that was a project that was next to the bigger project bag, and yeah, it got left behind. So I don't have any of that to show you in works in progress, but that's all of my finished objects.
Okay. I think we were both working on a sock
Mm-hmm.
and works in progress. I am working on a sock design for 2 colors. I think I have quite a few 2-color sock designs in my head. I don't know if I'm going to try to come out with some sort of collection or what I'm going to do with it, but this would be one of the first. I am a sponsor of the Downseller Studio Splash Pad KAL, Summer Splash Pad KAL. And as part of being one of those sponsors, I can have an exclusive item for the KALers to participate in. And I think that the inspiration for this was all of the water slides that we went on, those ones that the tubes go whoosh. And a lot of them, they encouraged us to race, like with the little mats, where you hold the little mats. And Jeremy and I determined that those were not good for adults because you're too long and there's parts of your body that hang off of the mat and rub. It's not fun. But so the working title of these socks currently is because a lot of the names were taken, slip, slide, splash socks. Slip, slide, splash socks. Say that 5 times fast. Slip, slide, splash, splash. So we got a coordinating toe and heel, and I'm just working up towards the cuff. And the other one is going to be the slides going the other direction. Okay. I worked up another sample of this where it veered. So once you hit the side, it went back. And I was noticing as I was wearing them that you didn't see the veer back as much because it was up on the leg.
Oh, gotcha.
So I kind of like that it's just sliding across the foot.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that going on. Go join that KAL and some of the fun prizes. She also does the the football one as well, pigskin.
Okay, yeah.
So this is her summer version.
Cool.
Yeah. Always like supporting folks that I know are nice people and have podcasts that I enjoy listening to. So. You have some DVD socks there.
Yep.
I like those colors.
Yep. This is Cinder Somebody, so Cinderella themed socks, and they are of my own making.
Cool.
Top down with patterning that goes right along with the heel and then goes to straight after that. It's just kind of a fun lace X's and stripes and whatnot. It just kept me entertained while I was going along. So I have one full one and one left. And then I noticed my last two pairs have been of my own making. So I might have to get busy and start writing some things up.
I think there were people cheering you on in the ZKKAL to write them up, because then you would get the designer bonus. Right?
Oh, that's true.
Socks aren't much weight to multiply them.
No, they aren't.
I've been finding that out.
So I haven't done much with this shawl, but I did get a little bit further. So I think I added like just this one leaf to the shawl last time. Miss Watson.
Okay.
It's got these leaves and they just get bigger and more pronounced, but still keeping in the same theme. So I'll run out of the darker color before I run out of the lighter color on that. And I'm just going to knit until they're gone. And that's a Miss Crosby and Mrs. Watson hanging out together. Then, let's see, what do I have here? I'm trying to see. Oh, for Eat, Sleep, Knit, I went through and found all my Eat, Sleep, Knit, and so that stash is kind of hanging out separately. And there, this quarter's KAL is socks. So I'm knitting sport weight socks. And then a fellow Krabby helped me out and gave me some tow yarn because I got to the 50% mark in my ball and was like, uh-oh, I'm not going to have enough to finish these socks. I made the cuffs too tall, but since I made them top down. But this is a Cookie A pattern. I don't remember the name of the Cookie A pattern, but it's one of her sport weight sock patterns, and I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of flowing along. It's got a lot of texture. You might not be able to see it from home, but it is there. It's very visible, even with the craziness that's involved here. She had it with just a plain pink yarn, so it certainly did show. Oh, Daphne!
I was like, and that was sport weight?
Yeah.
Because I remember I was in the club that year when Daphne came out.
Yeah, so there was Daphne and Velma in the same pattern, and those were both sport weight socks. And I've already knit the Velmas twice, I think. So it was Daphne's turn.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like those. And then I started a toe of another sock, but it's my first time working with the Targhee that Blue Moon.
That you got at Maryland last year, right?
No, this is from Eat, Sleep, Knit again.
Okay.
But this is my first time knitting with it, so.
Well, you got me some
in
Maryland last year.
Okay. Yeah, I did. So, and that was all green Tastico. But this is a beautiful blue. And I'm really excited to start this one as well. I have another idea.
Cool.
So just a lot of like texture ideas, and I just want to put them in socks. And I don't have a lot of ambitions on writing things up, so it's just one of those things. It's like I could write that up, or it's a one-off. That's a thing that I put somewhere. And
there's definitely been, obviously some leggings, and I think there's been some tops where I felt like I just wanted to knit it, even though it was of my own design. I didn't want to have to write it up, but I've also come back around and had to try to recreate my notes because I wanted to write it up all of a sudden and been like, oh, why
should have not waited.
Yeah, I shouldn't have waited. But yeah.
I figure I could go through the socks that I did do special things on, and I could go through each of them and try to write them up. I think right now, the problem with the socks that are the things that I'm doing is that I didn't go into them with the idea of sizing them. So they're just written for my size, which is a 72 stitch around. So
at a fairly tight gauge.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Yes, a really tight gauge. So again, it's one of those things that I could probably write that up, but then I'd be like, adjusting for a different size would take too much brain power at this point.
Yeah, that's the other designing tip that I would give people is size on the onset.
Yes.
Because otherwise, if you size at the end, it becomes really hard.
Yeah, no, and I realized that on some of these designs that I wrote them for more or less my foot size, and so if this one's very particular, and it would take a lot of mental I think I could do it, but at the same time there's this part has to line up with there's enough of it that could give me problems that I'm I don't know if I would write that up. But I think the other two are pretty basic, and so sometimes I don't want to write things up because they're basic too. I just kind of did this, and it's a little bit.
But maybe they seem basic to you, but somebody else would think they're super cool.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Or maybe because, this was really easy and simple, but it gives you that good effect. That's something else that people would like to learn.
I say go for it.
I know.
Just one more thing to do in your day, right?
Yeah. I'm just pretty impressed at work that I've managed to write things up and get things done. So, we're having a panel this week for community leaders, and so we're having a couple of community leaders of Rochester come in and speak, and I need to follow up with them tomorrow or the next day because they're coming in on Thursday, and then I got to make sure I have my panel questions written out and ready to go. Those bag twinsies. And so all of that is in my head right now, swimming around. I don't need a pattern thing to do. My knitting is for my stress-free environment.
Yeah. I think I'm multi, which is Dreams in Fiber from Yarn Over.
Oh, yeah.
You got that same color. And then this is, I forgot to mention, I'm just going to insert my yarn information in the middle of your works in progress. This is Spun Right Round in the Grasshopper colorway, which I knit the Adventure Walk socks out of. But I don't think I'm going to have enough to do another, with this being the main, I guess, that's the heel and the toe. But I don't know that I'd like the heel and the toe out of the variegated. Or with the slip stitches. It'd be interesting. I guess they'd be mismatched, matching socks.
Yeah, could try it.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, speaking of designs I don't want to write up, I made a mitten that's of my own design. So I have these cool mittens.
Very cool.
I haven't been publishing too many pictures of them because I was still finalizing. This is actually with the right patterning in it. I was knitting on some other stuff that didn't have the right patterning in it. So maybe this one can end up with a picture. But there is definitely a lot to figure out with this. Especially documenting the motif.
And then the heel, or the thumb.
Yeah, and you have to do a separate piece for the thumb. Yeah, there's just too much for me to think about. So I cast on the
Amy's becoming the new Megan. Like, I just wanted to knit this. I'm not gonna.
So the bottom piece, I'm getting through that for the second mitten, but
And what yarn was that? Was that the?
Oh yes, this is the Brown Sheep Company out of Nebraska. They're Prairie Spun, which again, super affordable. I like it a lot. I think that the next time I have a need to buy a sweater's quantity of something for a warm, sturdy something, I think I might buy this.
Cool. I
have certainly enjoyed knitting with it. It's not like your softest yarns, right? But I've gotten away from knitting with a whole lot of merinos lately. Not that it isn't still there, like the sweater that I left at home is a merino, but just getting more into like different. Like, oh, let's get back to the basics. I think it's also a cost thing, right? Like just thinking about knitting a sweater's quantity in today's hand-dyed merinos is giving me pause.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely enjoy knitting with that prairie.
I picked up a cat and my sock came with it.
And then I did start my...
He just helps himself. Hey, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
That looks fun. Don't eat her yarn, please.
I started that shawl for for my girlfriend in Mississippi. I got quite a bit to go before I can start the patterning. Sullivan, you're so cute.
He is. He's not hamming it up for the camera at all. This is just plain Sullivan-ish.
So then, so that's the silk and linen.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
Sullivan does too.
Sure does. Thinks it's wonderful. Down there. And then straps. That you can play with here.
He says,
play with the cutie.
We're now just a cat video on the internet.
Oh, you are so cute. Yeah. And I think that's all I had that was fit to show. This is acquisitions from my birthday.
Okay.
Ooh,
that's a big bag.
That's enabling you.
That's a big bag of acquisitions you got there, Amy.
Yes.
So my my suitcase didn't have enough space in it to buy this amount of yarn, but I bought it anyway.
Okay.
So the Yarn Barn, their in-house dyed yarn, dyed by Enid, and her husband, is the Barn Owl Yarns. Mm-hmm. And this is succulent, and it is a single ply, a silky single ply, so it's a merino silk. So one of those shawls that you were thinking at, and the greens and blues were just too much for me. I had to have it. Greens, blues, speckles.
Yeah, well, I could talk about it enabling, but the thing that I should mention is that this was like 750 yards. It's supposed to be a lace weight, but they said it blooms, and so you could use it for fingering weight or maybe even sport weight pattern. And yeah, for $30.
That is quite a lot. And then I went to Inskein Yarns, and from her wall of, please don't chew on lights. Zing.
Okay, hold on. No, that is definitely a
It's like
Sullivan.
Yeah, it's like it's like back in the days when we first started podcasting and there was a baby monitor.
Yeah, it's a new baby, a fur baby.
This is Lone Star Arts. I believe that they have donated to our to our retreat before, but this is Beautiful Disaster, which I thought was a very pretty name. And Mockingbird is the base, so it's 100% superwash merino.
Those were my fingers, sir.
So I think could end up being, if you're seeing shaking, that's Sullivan, another top for Ellie, or perhaps a larger shawl, but I just couldn't turn away this beautiful, beautiful pink. And then also when I was in skiing, I was definitely in a, I'm knitting that top that has no name. I gotta come up with a name for that top. Just nothing has seemed right. Yeah. So I picked this up and didn't really kind of think through that it was similar to something else that I was wearing at the time. But this is the, I don't know how to say that, Araucana yarns. And I just really liked all of these colors together. And this would be enough to make another one of those tops for myself if I wanted to. It's the curse of like, that's what I'm currently knitting. Right?
That is pretty.
I just want to lather, rinse, repeat. And then I went a little pin crazy at SeaWorld because they like had a whole wall. So I got some tails. I got pennies, the imprinted pennies that I needed a keychain that I could put one in. Then Amy got me some pins too. Sorry, you guys probably can't see it, but he just ran by and like pounced on my foot and then ran off.
Yep.
Drive-by. Yep, it was a drive-by. Got me the bean and the
Ferris wheel.
But it's the Ferris wheel from like the World's Fair, right?
It's a
Navy Fair.
Yeah. It's not the one, that would be.
Well, so I read White Devil in the Black City or whatever, and that was about, was it fictional or was it based off of the World's Fair where the Ferris wheel was
Right,
new?
but that's not that Ferris.
It's not that one. Got it. Sorry. You're like, I understood what you meant, and you're still wrong.
I'm pretty sure this is a modern day version of that Ferris wheel.
Whatever. It's not the World's Fair, but yes, I've got lots of SeaWorld bling.
Yeah, I don't know where I read it, but I believe that the original one was taken down, and then they must have decided that its history was too cool not to do, so they rebuilt it.
Similar, but not with the pops of bright green. The colors are brighter, I guess. I would be making another blue-green top, though, if I did the exact same pattern.
But I will say that I didn't write it this time around, so I don't remember. Ooh, got some fluffy tail going.
Oh, he does. I don't know what got him all hyped up.
He's poofy.
He is poofy. I've not seen his tail poofy before. All right, so the birthday onslaught. This is just me vacation enabled.
Yeah, so I asked Megan to tell me if there were any sort of sales. I resisted one of the first ones you sent me, but then she sent me a flash sale from Dana Unwind, and I'd already looked at some of these colors before, so I put Boardwalk in my cart.
That one went into my cart, but did not get the purchase hit on it.
And then the Day-Night, just this
Stunning.
so pretty. Yeah. I wasn't sure about, like she had knit a little mitered square, and I wasn't sure how it knit up there, but I figure in a longer repeat, I would really like this, because I like it in the skein very much. So I have that. And that's pretty.
Yep.
And then
I tagged her, or I forwarded it on an Instagram, and I said, you asked for it.
And mine came with a little satchel this time. And also, she's doing a like nail business too, and so got a sample.
Cool.
Super pretty. Yeah. Like I debated not getting it because it was the singles, but I like the color so much. I was like, I gotta get that. And I've knit plenty of singles till double and all of that stuff if I felt like.
No, you can totally enable yourself, right?
So then, continuing on with the, like, it's my birthday, I deserve yarn. I got, so this is that silk and linen. So it's 65% silk, 35% linen. It's 750 yards. And then, yeah, it's really nice. And it was just $30 a skein. So I got two to make sure I had enough for a top if I wanted to make one. And then Oh, okay. It's cute. It's suggesting you might want to make it go through the dryer to let it bloom.
Cool.
On there. So yeah, that's Nerd Girl
Very
Yarns.
pretty blue.
Very pretty blue. And then Eat Sleep Nip, part of their yarnathon or whatever, is that you do an exclusive colorway. And that's the third quarter. Well, I was kind of hemming and hawing because they have a lot of exclusive colorways that are for the yarnathon, that are sea themed or whatever. But it didn't specify that. It said anything that's exclusively dyed for eatsleepknit.com or the yarnathon, or, so it spelled it out that anything that says exclusive on it could be used. Well, this Madtosh, whoa. This is the Chattahoochee.
Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. She lay rubber on the Georgia asphalt. I can't remember. Something got crazy and never got caught.
Yeah. So I decided I needed 3 of them to make sure I had enough for some sort of beautiful project.
It's gorgeous. I like their new labels too.
Yeah. So I was just like, and it's an exclusive yarn, so it fits with the thing, and it was like immediately like, these are the ones that are gonna be
bing bang boom.
Boom. Yeah. And now that it's here, I'm even more pleased with how it turned out.
Very pretty.
But that was in that order with the other skein of yarn, and then I got my team's pin, which is a hermit crab. And I don't know, I like started thinking about getting a hermit crab because, kids like to take care of hermit crabs. But yeah, I haven't seen any that are outside of saltwater in town that you can buy. And if I found out how much they were, I probably wouldn't buy one, but I don't know, got it in my head. But then I'm also continuing with my Leading Men Fiber Arts Club, and this is my dramaturg, Head in the Clouds. Very pretty. With my little mini skein. So I'm also plotting something with these as well. I have so many of them laying side by side that like my head is swimming. I want to make something beautiful with them, but I don't necessarily want to hunt something. I just want to be inspired. So hopefully I get inspiration hits and I get something in my mind. Earthquake!
Yeah. Sorry. Sullivan hit the stand in which the camera was on.
Yep, I think he like tugged on the cable that was in the camera, and here he is. He's playing with his donut, so it's like just all over the place.
Waiting to be inspired.
Yes, I was talking about how I was waiting to be inspired and hopefully come up with some sort of pattern to make beautiful with the different yarns here. There's 92 yards in the mini skeins. I could probably make something pretty cool out of 12 of these. So that's another thought as well I need to think about. Like, other than just adding it to my blanket, maybe I should make something, like a bigger thing with it. So that'll be exciting.
Outside of the blanket.
Yes, exactly. But that is them.
Cool.
So, I felt a little crazy at the time, but, now that it's all out and talked about, it doesn't feel that bad.
So I got 2 kits.
Yeah.
In a very big box from Knitpicks. When it arrived, I was like, oh man, when you're getting yarn in that size box and it isn't like Retreat goodie bag yarn,
yeah,
you got a problem. But I decided I admired enough of them online. I believe that Carrie from Chicago, he's going to try to knock it over again, just finished one and cast on another one. And I know a lot of the Eat Sleep knitters are knitting them as well, not with the Knitpicks yarn.
Right.
But I decided I just wanted to hue shift, just hue shift. Ba-dum bum. I was like, just do it. Sort of. Just hue shift. No?
No.
I don't know. Okay. My pun was not strong. But yeah, I got the jewel one, which is this one, and then I got the standard one, which is the rainbow one. So yeah, I was dreaming big. And I'll be making a lot of scraps.
Okay.
Out of this, that I'm not doing out of scraps, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it is multicolor.
Mm-hmm.
It's so many colors.
Right.
Yeah, and this is a good price. I thought that as far as a blanket of this size, square, I believe it ends up being 50-inch square.
Mm-hmm.
That it's fairly reasonable. The Brava Sport is acrylic,
Mm-hmm.
which is what helps bring the price down. But I don't know. You make wool blankets, proper wool blankets, but it just seems like a lot of money to sink into a blanket that who knows what will happen. Sullivan will decide to claw up or...
I've had a lot of problems with my my merino wool blanket,
Mhm.
but the ones that are wool have been doing really well. Like
Okay.
as far as like holding up to claws or something happening or snags or whatever. I have far fewer snags in my wool. Like I think it's like, oh, I decided to do that granny square blanket, or not granny square, the vivid with the squares that you sew together. Well, the gauge that I did them in, it was the suggested needle size, but I think that the tension should have been, but the blocking to the square seemed correct. But something's wrong because it's very loose gauge and it snags quite easily. So if I were to do the vivid again, I would not make the squares that big. I would tighten up that gauge a lot. I would just make it more iron.
As is the Amy way.
Yeah. It really is.
You're not looking for a lot of drape in a blanket, I guess? I mean, other than if you want to have it be a light layer or to knit it really quickly, I guess.
Right.
I mean, like tops drape and shawls drape can be nice, right? But when you're blanket, you want warmth. You don't want like a light layer, I guess.
Well, I mean, when I was knitting it, I thought it was great, and I blocked them all to like 11 by 11 or 12 by 12, and I sewed them all together, and it's this beautiful blanket. It's large. People use it. It's great. But it snags. So like all over the place, it's got little snags, and I try to fix them, and then another one will pop up. So it's a never-ending snag blanket.
Yeah.
And you don't learn that until you start living with it, right?
Yeah.
So.
My only blanket that I've ever knit was out of that homespun,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can't see a single snag because it's
Right.
already really fuzzy and and multi-textural, I guess.
Yeah.
That's not a word. I'm making up words now and watching a cat run around like a crazy person.
I've done a lot. Oh goodness. I've done a lot of homespun blankets as well, and the one with the giant needles and whatnot, it didn't. It was really hard to get the ends to tuck in.
Yeah.
So, and that's just the nature of that homespun yarn. But yeah, that was the most frustrating bit because now it's got unintended tassels all over it. So it doesn't look very professional or finished.
That sounds like the name of your memoir or something. Unintended tassels.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
The Amy Spindler knitter story. Unintended tassels.
From when she didn't finish something.
Sorry. We're getting punchy. Did you... Go ahead.
I just recently got a sweater out of the closet that's got like, you change yarn every other row, it felt like. It was really stripy.
Mm-hmm.
And it had a gajillion ends because it was knit flat and you couldn't carry the yarn on it very easily, just the way that the striping was done. And anyway, it's still got a million ends on the inside. I wear it.
Mm-hmm.
And hello, sir.
Can I stick my head in your bag and sniff your yarn?
No teeth.
Have you, so on the way down to San Antonio, I wanted to fit in some random enabling. Have you listened to Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard?
Oh, no. Dex? Okay.
Yeah, he's got a new podcast.
Okay.
It's super popular. A lot of people are listening to it, which I didn't know. Spotify recommended it to me, and because I could download the content and it was something that I could listen to while we were traveling, when we were driving down to Corpus Christi, we listened to the interview with Jimmy Kimmel, which was super hysterical. He also has interviewed his wife, Kristen Bell, but the funniest one was Zach Braff, super in some of these artsy films and Garden State and whatever, and then it's hysterical. I highly recommend it if you're looking for like a non-knitting podcast. He's the armchair expert kind of angle of it is that he acts like he's very knowledgeable about a lot of things, and at the end, one of the producers of the show sits down and they go over the accuracy of his statements.
Yeah,
but I like Dax. Yeah, he's
and
funny.
then why can't I think of the guy you just mentioned that looks like Dax?
Zach Braff.
Zach Braff. He has Alex Incorporated, which is about a guy who's starting up a podcast company.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's all circular. It is.
But yeah, it was one of these weird things where he was on Conan randomly. Not Zach Braff, Dax Shepard, and it was because his podcast was getting so many whatever, and I didn't realize that it was very popular.
When
I picked it up, it was just because I was looking for content that I could download and would be a lot for my trip. So yeah, I don't know. It was good. It was a good read. Oh, did you decide to settle down?
You got a friend. Yay.
Unintended tassels and friends.
Yeah.
Did we have anything for ZK that we wanted to mention that was new since last time? I know we've been working diligently.
Accept that?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting opportunity, I guess, because we not only share it with our online viewers, but then exposure with your product. And our attendees really enjoy the drawings. And are super appreciative. I know a lot of them reach out with thank yous. Everything is appreciated a great deal. So appreciated and loved. Yeah. So reach out to us if you're interested. Otherwise, I think we've got a list of folks that have donated in the past, and we always want to make sure that to present that opportunity if anybody's interested. Amy's going into like cat and zen mode. Can't talk, petting Sullivan.
Yeah.
Kitten snuggles. Kitten snuggles.
Aww. But I get snuggles from my cats. I like the kitten energy.
Yeah.
I think I liked when he was playing with this donut all over.
It does make it sweeter when like it's like and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna come sit next to you.
True. It's true. It's a little bit more special.
Yes. Bing, 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 bing. Ding. Yep. When it lands on you.
Like, that donut play. I'm like, oh man, my cats haven't played like that solo.
Yeah.
In a
See,
long
and I don't
time.
think my kids understood that cats did that, right? Like, maybe watching cat videos online, right?
Yeah.
But like, we just have
real life cats don't do that.
Yeah.
Just
But
those
yes.
ones on the internet.
Yeah. No, it's fun. Anyway, thank you for putting up with us and our kitten brains tonight.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be
pretty cute. Oh, you bit me. Yeah. I'm like brand new parent, like annoying, right? Like, oh, isn't my baby cute? I get it.
And I haven't been around a kitten in at least 6 years, so I'm ecstatic. It's like, oh, look at the kitten energy.
Yeah, and that's another random enabling that I wanted to mention. I got pillows. Ellie must have taken the one with Max and Chaz on it, cuddled up. But we got pillows made. I can't remember what they're called. They're like little pie. So yeah. So you just send them their picture. There was some sort of buy one or for half price option, and so I really liked the picture of Max and Chaz cuddled up. I think it was on my Valentine's Day
It's kind of a fun, unusual shape.
Yeah, it's very huggable.
Yeah.
I was kind of upset at first because it doesn't stand real well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it is very huggable.
Yeah.
But I chose this. This was him standing by the window. And the other one is them curled up together. And if you look out of the corner of your eye, I'll post a link if anybody's interested. There's all kinds of things that you could get printed, but this was the one that resonated with me. Like, because your pets are often sitting on your furniture, and a pillow is often sitting on your furniture. So yeah, if you look out of the corner of your eye, you see this pillow of Max and Chaz cuddled up together on the couch, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. So it's kind of a fun way. Ellie takes one or the other to bed with her every night to remember them. But good old Chaz. We could put them behind.
Oh yeah, Max. Oh, we need Max and Chaz.
Yep.
Up there.
Yep. So they are gone but not forgotten. And again, I think I just feel so fortunate to have had such wonderful cats in my life. So
Bye.
bye, Ufta.